Hey folks, yet again, welcome. Welcome to Champ Sports TV. I am your host, Fari Rachiguni. Thank you very much for joining me yet again. Um, I will be reacting to the big Manchester derby on Sunday. Manchester United 3, Manchester City 6. An absolute hammering dished out to the Red Devils. So, yeah, man, where to start in the game? City, I thought, were nothing short of sensational in that game, especially in that first 45 minutes, where they actually ran United ragged. They outpassed them, outfought them, outworked them. Everything that City were, United were the total opposite. United were shocking. They were a disgrace and deserve all the negative flag that they have received after the derby. A few records, um, a few records from the Manchester derby. I highlighted about six of them. The highest scoring Manchester derby in history, a total of 9 games, six to City, three to United. Haaland is the first player in the Premier League's history to score a hat trick in three successive home games for his club. The third one is he's also the first Man City player to score a hat trick in the derby in the Premier League, and the first one in top flight football since Francis Lee back in 1970. Obviously, that was followed by young Phil Foden, who also left with a match ball for himself as well. Haaland is the fastest player to to three hat tricks in the Premier League. He he, um, he did that in only 8 games, 8 appearances for City. Uh, 40 more, 40 less than the previous record holder, who was Michael Owen, who did that in 48 appearances. The fifth record that fell was Man City became the third team in the Premier League history to have two players score hat tricks in a single match. Uh, he That was Haaland and Foden, as I mentioned earlier. They follow in the footsteps of the Arsenal duo of Robert Pires and Jermaine Pennant, who did that against Southampton, as well as Ayoze Perez and Jamie Vardy, who did that for Leicester City in that 9-0 thrashing of Southampton a couple of years ago. Um, the last one is Anthony, the United player. He became the sixth player to score in both of his first two outings or appearances for United, while Anthony Martial uh, became only the second substitution in the Manchester derby to score a brace, following the footsteps of Edin Dzeko for City back in 2011 in October, in that famous 6-1 thrashing of the Red Devils in at Old Trafford. Now back to the game. The passing of Man City was top drawer. They made United chase the ball. United went too keen. It seemed like United went too keen on closing down players. So City just had acres of space. They passed it around. They passed it through around the players. United didn't have a midfield that was inexistent at all. They played Ericsson and McTominay in there in front of the back four, and they were completely overrun. Like I said, they passed it around the two in midfield, and Bruno didn't, he couldn't be asked in terms of helping out the two there in midfield. Um, City front three, the City front three were absolutely sensational. Um, Foden and Haaland deserved they left with match balls, and I thought Jack Grealish was also sensational as well, especially that first 45 minutes, where he ran at Darlow. He was direct, at running at the United defense, and yeah, it's actually quite good when seeing Grealish performing at uh, at the level that we've come to expect of him since his £100 million move from Aston Villa at the beginning of last season. Now, before the game, the loss of Rodri, many had identified the loss of Rodri to injury. Apparently, he had a slight knock on Friday, so so Pep didn't want to risk him, so he named Gundogan in place of Rodri, and there was a perception out there that City would have problems in that position, and United would find space on the counter attack. Just like that Champions League final that Chelsea won against Man City, where they played without a holding player. But look, City, handled that facet of the game really well. I thought that Ilkay, Kevin, and Bernardo Silva bossed the game, and they were thoroughly uh, way above anything that United could throw at them. So that eventually worked out perfectly for Man City. Now, the second 45 minutes, I don't think Pep would be greatly um, pleased with the second 45 minutes, especially once City had scored their sixth goal, they eased off. I know he put on there about five subs in the second half. Which contributed to them lacking in a bit of rhythm. But they eased off in that second 45 minutes and allowed United to score their two consolation goals to lift the score to flatter United. So I think Pep would have had one or two words with his players. Now, as for United, the manager did say at Ten Hag that the players didn't have the chops. They were not brave enough, to handle the ball, to call for the ball, to handle it and pass it as they had apparently been, according to him, during their four successive wins, starting with Liverpool. But there's a mountain. The gulf in class between the two sides is ever more huge, massive. And Sunday was just a reminder to all the United fans who had been running their mouths about them getting back to some sort of form, getting back to some sort of um, um, place where they'll be considered a top four team and that sort of thing. I thought I thought the golfing class between the two was chalk and cheese. Sancho, was he playing? Because he was so anonymous. Rashford, nowhere to be found. Um, the two uh, 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 um, fullbacks for United, Malacia and the boy Darlow. They had a proper working over. And to think that none of Sancho and Anthony came back to assist, which is criminal. You hardly find such things happening these days. Where you get your wingers coming back to assist the fullbacks. So that didn't happen for Man United. Um, the pre-match billing of the pre-match, it was billed as the Haaland Martinez contest. However, as we all found out, it was only one-way traffic. Over and above though, um, Varane was the man assigned to look after Haaland, not and as we saw, he didn't do a good job of that until he was substituted, or rather, he went off through injury. So it's back to the drawing boards for the Red Devils. Um, the selection The starting 11, questions need to be asked about the starting 11. The continued presence of McTominay in there, especially after they've just signed or rather spent 60 million pounds for Casemiro. I do understand that during the past 4 games, McTominay had been playing well. He had shown an improvement. But if you sign a guy like Casemiro, a five-time Champions League winner, numerous trophies with Real Madrid, he knows the pressures of playing in a big game. He played numerous times for Madrid against Barcelona in El Clasico. He's played numerous times for Brazil against Argentina. So I think it's time that the manager gets him playing in there as well. I do understand why he's decided to play um, Ericsson next to his defensive midfielder. Ericsson is able to start play at the back. He's able to retain possession, and he's able to progress the ball forward. So I don't have any qualms regarding that. In my view, I think that's a sensible selection of Ericsson in that position. What I would say though is that Bruno Fernandes must surely be doing more. He offered no help whatsoever to his midfield partners, and he was also anonymous in the game as well. So in conclusion, like I said before, the gulf in class between the two is still massive. Um, you know, it takes me back to the two derbies last season, where City absolutely battered the United in the 2 games. The 2-0 win at Old Trafford actually flatters United, as well as the 4-1 win at the Emirates last season. So hopefully the red off of Manchester tones the noise down a bit. There were too many people with lip going into the derby. Hopefully that hammering, that thrashing, uh, you know, um, you know, makes them tone down a bit in terms of all the talk about United. Yeah, so those are my thoughts regarding the Manchester derby. Please do not forget to subscribe and hit the like button as well, and send me please your comments, your views on my on the WhatsApp channel. Like I said, please subscribe on my WhatsApp. I beg your pardon, on my YouTube channel rather, man, which is Chem Sports TV. Um, yeah, please subscribe to that as well. Thank you very much for joining me, and looking forward to the next time we meet. Cheerio and have a great day.